As someone who spent half a decade going door to door selling and installing security tech for people, I consider myself a pretty good judge of security products in general. And this is the Swann Allsecure 650 2K wireless security kit. This is the 2-camera bundle. You can get it with 4 cameras and you can buy additional cameras separately if you need them. And this video is sponsored by Swann, and instead of reviewing the product, I think it would be more useful for you guys to see how easy or how difficult it is to install this camera setup. Because to be honest, from my experience working in the security industry, I can tell you if you pay a company to provide, maintain and install equipment for you, there's a very high chance you're gonna get ripped off. So watch this setup guide, and throughout this video I will highlight the things that I really like about this product and things that I think could be better. And if by the end of the video you realize that this is something you could do for yourself, then you probably should, because when you do, you'll have more privacy, more control of your own security, and you won't have to worry about third parties accessing your cameras. All right, let's start with phase 1, the unboxing. It seems as though the setup guide will be color coded, so blue, red, green. First out of the box, we have a battery pack. We have the Swann base station, and then we have a series of ports on the back. And one of the standout features here, in my opinion, is the HDMI out. So this means you can plug this into a monitor and monitor all your cameras in real time. And when they trigger, it'll pop up on the screen. So this is ideal for business owners who want to keep an eye on their property, or if you want to have a kind of Scarface setup where you can see all the perimeter of your house. If anyone walks in front of a camera, it will pop up on the display. Of course, this will also connect to your phone. So if you're not home, you can still have the same access to the cameras. This wires directly into your modem. You have a mouse input, a storage input, so you could plug in an external hard drive to keep your recordings on, and there's even a micro SD card slot here as well, and then the power input. User manual, Ethernet cable for plugging the hub into your modem directly, a wired mouse which is specifically for controlling the device via a monitor, power lead, 2-pin European adapter if you are in Europe. You can switch out the pins here on the main power adapter. HDMI cable for plugging this into a monitor or a TV. We've got a whole bunch of stickers here, which are deterrents. You can place these on the insides of your windows and on doors and things like that. USB-A to USB-C charging cables. I'm assuming you might be able to hardwire these into the power and have them constantly powered up. The 2 wall brackets for the cameras, and you can see here the base unscrews from the mount, so you can fix these to the wall and then fix the cameras afterwards. And they even provide guide stickers, so you can place this where you want to put the camera and drill the holes at exactly the right distance apart. And then we have the cameras themselves. They're fairly lightweight without the batteries in them. You can see the thread at the back for the wall mounting bracket, and something that's pretty cool about these are you can use them like this, but if you need more range on these, they're going to be further away from the hub. You can extend the antenna here, and that should help the signal. And Swann are kind enough to throw in the screws for fitting these and also the wall plugs. So this is the entirety of the content of the Allsecure 650 from Swann. Okay, next up is to read the instructions and follow the color-coded guide to get this all set up and running. And there is even more stickers in here, so there's double stickers. So if you've only got a few windows, you've got enough stickers in here to block out the sun. But more importantly, they will deter any burglars from thinking about breaking in the first place, hopefully. Okay, so I've got my user guides now, 1, 2, 3, color-coded for simplicity. The first hurdle that you'll run into when it comes to installing these is you will need to plug the base station into a TV or a monitor to set up the NVR, which is Network Video Recorder. So for this part of the video, I've got this plugged into a field monitor. At home, you could plug this into your TV if you don't have a monitor. I think the reason why Swann do it this way is because they do have that option to output to a monitor, which is a feature that you don't always get with other wireless camera solutions out there. And what I've got going on here at the back of the hub is HDMI going into the monitor, Ethernet cable going into the modem, USB cable for the mouse, and the power lead. So once you've got this set up, all you need to do is follow the on-screen instructions here. You've got to make sure your screen supports a minimum of 720p, and then you just run through the startup wizard. There are 5 steps to this: creating a password, setting your language and screen resolution and time zones, set up a forgotten password recovery system, set up the automatic updates and daylight savings. So I'm going to run through these steps real quick now. So let's fast forward to the next bit. Okay, so I'm at the end of the setup process. There's a lot of clicking of on-screen keyboards, but it's actually very easy to do. I'm glad they added the mouse in the box for this bit. And here you'll see there's a notice saying that there is a firmware update available for the base station. So I'll do that now. And this brings me on to step 3, which is setting up everything on the smartphone via the app. And if you were to ask me how easy is everything to set up in step 1 and step 2, I would give it an easy 8.5 out of 10, 10 being the easiest possible. The only reason I give it 8.5 is because I had to put in my admin password like 3 or 4 times. But apart from that, it was super easy. Lots of on-screen keyboards and using the mouse, which for most people is going to be pretty straightforward stuff. Once in the Swann app, you just need to create an account with an email and password, and now we can pair a device. And it really is quite as simple as scanning the QR code on the top of the base station with your phone. So let's do that now. Once you've scanned the QR code on top of the base station, you have to choose swann.com here. Give it a label as to where you will be keeping it in your house. And here you'll need to enter your password one more time. And this is the one that you created during the setup on the monitor. And this will now link your smartphone app to the base station. And here you do get the option to upgrade to a premium account with 90 days free trial. So with this, you get a bunch of extra features here with the Secure Plus Unlimited. As you can see, it's looking for the cameras right now, which leads me to believe that the cameras are already linked to the base station. So let me put the batteries in and see. Okay, so we're now all set up. The cameras are linked, the hub is connected to the internet. We can use the monitor if we want. The only thing left to do now is to use the bits and pieces here that are provided in the box to fit these to the walls. Okay, so at this point, what you want to do is screw the bracket onto the back of the camera first, and then unscrew the base here. And just know that when you put this on the wall and you screw this part, that will tighten up the ball joint here on the camera bracket. So with this, what you want to do is place the sticker where you want to mount the camera. So for me, I'm going into wood here just to keep things simple. I'm going to place it up here. And now I know those are the 2 points that I want to go through. And if you are going to be drilling into the wall, you drill through those 2 holes, put the wall plugs in and then use the screws. But I'm just going to use the screws on their own since it's wood. Okay, so you can see right now the ball joint is very loose. Once I screw it onto that and tighten this, it will become very stiff and it will hold in position. And also keep in mind, if you are going to be further away from the base station, you might want to lift up the antenna here as well. And there we go, that is now locked in place and it's very strong there. You can see it's not moving on its own. Perfect. Okay, so it's fair to say that fitting the camera bracket is pretty straightforward, especially if you're fitting them onto wood. If you are going to be fitting them onto concrete, then you definitely want to do that properly with a drill and wall plugs and make sure it's really secure there, especially if it's within arm's reach of a burglar. Okay, so let's run quickly through the app. So on the first tab is your activities tab. It will show you throughout the day how much activity is happening around your cameras. Scroll down, you'll be able to look at the week view in the bar graph format, and you'll also be able to see how many human triggers there's been. You can see 26 so far. If you go across to the next tab, you got your playback. Here you'll have all of the triggers and the times of those triggers throughout the day, and it's identified a person. That's why it's got the person icons next to it, and you can play back any of those triggers just by tapping on them here. For example, there's me doing some voiceover for this video. At the top, you'll see the calendar icon. If you tap that, you can go back through the dates where there's been recordings and look at those recordings. You have up to 2 years of recordings here for free. And you can, of course, upgrade to the Secure Plus membership and get tons of cloud storage as well if you want. Live view is exactly what you expect it to do. It brings up the live view of the cameras. If I tap on the camera, Here I can actually trigger an alarm manually. And it sounds horrible, which is a good thing. You can also turn on the spotlight like that. So that's going to be very good in very dark areas, maybe in your garden, around the side of your house where there's no light. You can speak through the camera here, so push to talk. You can snap a photo. You can manually set a record, so if you want to record some footage without it triggering, you can do that. And you can bring up the log of all of the triggers on that camera. And if you go into the settings, you can rename the camera as well. Now, what's really cool about these cameras, and I think is an amazing feature, is the fact that you can have 8 of them on display at all times here on a monitor. So if you have a business and you have an office set up, you could have a monitor on the wall and have all 8 cameras here, and you'll see they sort of flash on and off as they pick up motion. And here you can also change the ratio of the footage. So the standard ratio is 16:9. So I'm going to leave it on that. And at the bottom here, we have the garden camera, which I literally just set up now. So we can toggle back and forwards between those two. There is an extra menu up here. So if you tap the little golden chest here, you can add the optional extras if you want to. And you can even try the unlimited plan for 90 days for free. Then we have a little sub menu where you can turn off the data saver and set the hybrid view to small. Pretty self-explanatory stuff. And on your phone, if you have 8 cameras, you can do a similar thing to what you can do with a monitor. You can have all 8 cameras on your phone screen at one time. And you could set this up on a tablet as well. Next tab across is the modes. So this is great to use when you know you're going to be passing by the cameras a lot, because there's nothing more annoying than your camera sending you constant notifications because people keep going in and out of the house during certain times of the day. And a good one to set up is the night mode. So to set up a night mode, you literally just go in, go to schedule, set what time you leave in the morning, what time you arrive home, what time you go to bed. And that way the cameras will kick in when typically nobody should be around triggering your cameras. And you can create custom schedules here as well with the advanced section. So if your routine changes from day to day, you can do it on a day-to-day basis. And the last tab is devices. Here we've got the one device, which is the base station that I just set up, the name of the base station, the status, and we have the channels here. So I have 2 channels right now, garden and YouTube room. And I just want to come back to the mode section very quickly because there's a cool little feature here. It is the add widget. So this will add a widget to your home screen for controlling your cameras very easily from one of your home screens on your phone. And if you are considering buying this, it is worth noting that Swann have been doing this for 30 years and they secure over 4 million homes and businesses right now. So that's pretty crazy. That's a lot of experience and that's a lot of customers that trust Swann. So here's an example of the 2K camera quality in a well-lit environment. This also serves as a great HDR test. As you can see, my studio light is directly behind me and it's not causing the cameras to darken the scene and lose a ton of detail in the process. And here's an example of the night footage so you can get an idea of what to expect. It's not bad at all, especially considering how dark it was where I was standing at this point in time. I am impressed. But what about you? Let me know in the comments. So let me know what you thought of the camera's video quality in the comments below. Here's what I like about these cameras. I have not come across a multi-camera setup that connects to a monitor that's this easy to install before. It truly is easy, and the fact that you can have 8 of these on display at one time is fantastic. And one thing to keep in mind if you do want to go with the full 8 camera setup is that you might need to consider upgrading your broadband to accommodate for the extra bandwidth required. And if you want to look into that, there'll be a link below this video that will take you to all of the details. Something else that I think is going to be brilliant for business owners is the fact that you can have your monitor there and have the mouse connected to the base station and access live view from the monitor as well as on your smartphone when you're not on the premises. Something else that I think is standout about the Swann Allsecure 650 is the ability to store locally here on an SD card or on an external hard drive or on the actual hub itself. And you have the option for cloud storage if you're willing to pay for the subscription service. That means if someone vandalizes the base station or your hard drives, you'll still have a backup. And Swann don't really force you to do it, but they do give you a bunch of perks if you do decide to take that membership. So you can use this system fee-free and self-monitor the cameras. But if you go with the subscription, you'll get the True Detect functionality that can recognize packages, pets, vehicles, and of course people, and you'll also get priority support if you need it. And if you are going to be setting up multiple cameras, one of the great things you can do here is wire them in permanently to the mains via the USB cables that come with it. Of course, you can use your own as well. And this means you'll never have to worry about battery supply at all. And this battery feature is a distinct difference between the Swann cameras and its competitors. Something else that I really like about the user interface is the ability to link a Dropbox account, so you can actually have your own cloud storage on Dropbox for all of your recordings, and you can also take your recordings and clips and actually send them to your Google Drive or directly to WhatsApp if you want to share some footage. And for security purposes, if you have very dark corners of the outside of your house, you have that spotlight, and you also have the siren feature, which should be able to scare a burglar away if they're snooping around. And one of the standout features is the battery, not just the battery life, which is up to 3 months on a single charge, but also the fact that there's an additional battery in the base station that's always charged that you can swap out when the time comes. And it serves that second purpose of keeping a reserve power supply on the base station if the mains goes out. That is a well thought out feature in my opinion. The installation process is incredibly easy. I actually can't believe how easy this is to set up in comparison to what I used to install in people's homes when I used to fit alarms for a living. The security game is definitely changing, and I do believe nowadays it's much better to do it yourself just because the quality of the equipment is so good, the install process is easy, and also when you buy something like this, you know what you're getting for your money. So let me know in the comments, having watched this video, does this look like something you could do yourself? And if you do want to pick up the Swann Allsecure 650 kit, there'll be affiliate links below this video, and if you use those, you will be supporting the channel, and I would greatly appreciate it. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Don't be late.